Hello folks, welcome to my channel. Skypilot here. Yes, I have my slightly upgraded HGLRC Sector 5 V2 here, analog version. Recently put on some Crossfire parts, some new props, and this thing flies really well. The only thing is, I've had a few people ask me exactly how fast does it go, and how far does the VTX carry you before you lose signal. So to answer those questions, I've gone and bought a small GPS. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to strip it down, solder on my GPS, get it configured into Betaflight, and take it for a fly, and we'll see exactly how fast and how far it goes. If you have one of these iFlights and you're considering attaching a GPS, this is the video for you. Let's get straight into it. You'll see on your GPS module, guys, when you put the plug in, you have a G, V and a T and an R. So obviously ground, your volt supply or power supply, transmit and receive, TX, RX. So obviously the TX, which is green, goes to the RX on here, and the RX, which is yellow, goes to the TX on your flight controller. And obviously black to ground and red to your power supply. So you can see on here, guys, I have tinned up the solder points. So I'm using the TX6 and the RX6, which is the UR6 for our Betaflight connection. I have a 3.3 volt power supply pad here and the negative just here. So this is a really nice board. Plenty of room to move, plenty of room to work on. Okay, let's get the GPS unit soldered on. Okay, that's our 4 points soldered on to the flight controller. Just tidy these wires up a bit carefully. If we do spin them around, and they're less likely to go somewhere where they're not meant to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hook it up to Betaflight, and before I do the final reassemble, make sure everything works as it should. So let me just quickly run through my Betaflight settings for the HGLRC. So once you've plugged it in, you've hooked up your GPS, make sure you have your correct UART6 sensor input that reflects GPS. If you don't have one of these set, Betaflight will not know that you have a GPS installed. The rate here, just leave it on auto. Betaflight will select the correct rate. So once that is done, save and reboot down to your configuration. And if you have a running unit, you won't need to touch anything here except for GPS. So you'll see that your GPS switch tab is off, so flick that on. Make sure auto config is self-highlighted and select the correct protocol for your GPS. In my case, I've got the uBlocks protocol. So have a look on the website, see which protocol it uses. If you're not sure, just do trial and error. That will do the job. That's all we need to do in the configurations tab. The next thing that you'll need to do is to go down to your receiver and just make sure you have, if you have your auxiliary switch enabled to do a failsafe, just make sure that it is talking to your flight controller. As you can see, I've just turned on my radio master, and that's my landing beeper, and this is my GPS failsafe attached to auxiliary 6. You need to go down to your Modes tab and just enable your GPS rescue should you wish to do it this way. You can do it a couple of different ways, which I'm about to show you. However, if you wish to force a failsafe with your auxiliary switch, then you need to make sure your GPS rescue is set up in your modes. So that takes us to the failsafe screen. So make sure we have stage 2 set up. So what that means is when you have a failsafe, your flight controller is going to say, okay, let's go straight to stage 2. It will do the initial guard time and fail-safe throttle first before jumping into stage 2, which you then select drop, land or GPS. Obviously we want to have GPS rescue set, and I'll just quickly run through these protocols here. They're all stock standard except for the last one, which I have selected minimum satellites of 6. So 32-degree angle, so she doesn't come home too fast. Initial altitude, descent distance, so that means 200 meters it will start slowly coming down to the ground, and the descent rate is 1.5 meters per second. So you can do the math on kilometers an hour for that, but it's quite slow. Ground speed 20 meters a second. Throttle, maximum throttle, throttle hover. Bear in mind guys, when this does come back to you, it's not like a DJI return to home. You will need to take charge of it, otherwise it will just come flying down and crash and burn. I always have my allow arming without fix turned off. If you have that turned on and you take off before you have attained the minimum amount of satellites, which in my case I've set to 6. Some people have set it to 7 or 8. 6 I find enough to be reasonably accurate, otherwise you'll be sitting there all day while your VTX is starting to fry. If this is turned on, it will allow you to arm your quad, and if you're not paying attention to your satellites and you have 5 selected, if you're not paying attention to your satellite numbers and you have 5 selected, then failsafe will not work, GPS rescue will not work, and you will not return to home. You will simply fall out of the sky. So make sure this is turned off, which will mean you can't arm the quad until you have attained 6 satellites, which is good. Altitude mode, I've set it for maximum altitude, and what that means is if you fly anywhere, the maximum height for that flight after you armed on that day, that is the height that your quad is going to return to home at before it does its descent at 200 meters. And sanity checks, failsafe only, so that enables me to use my auxiliary switch, and it also means that as long as I have started the quad and started the flight with a minimum of 6 satellites, and I am more than 200 meters from my takeoff location, then GPS rescue will be hunky-dory. And finally, I just like to go into the on-screen display and put up just a couple of things that I like to have running, being my distance from home, how many satellites I have, and my speed and my arrow pointing to home, which is always quite handy when you're flying a little bit further away than you need to. Apart from that guys, the only other thing you may want to do is do a CLI dump should things go pear-shaped. It's always good to have a backup of your CLI. And just in case you were wondering how to do that, just open up your CLI, be patient, type in dump, and it does just that. A big dump. Then we basically click save to file, and you have your entire CLI should you need it at a later stage. Absolutely last but not least, I do like to do a calibration before I take it to the sky. Nice and level, nice and straight. Good to go guys. Okay, the HGLRC Sector 5. So the final installment of this series, GPS fitted, and I'm just going to do what I actually set out to do from the word go, is do a speed test and see how fast this HGLRC goes with these Azure Power funky hot rod coloured styled props go. So I'll just hunt for some GPS's, get it fired up, send her over the hill there, and hopefully that GPS will record some fairly accurate speeds, which will be pretty cool. Got the Orca up front there. This thing's an awesome unit, one of my favourites. Check out my channel if you want to have a look at the other reviews and builds I've done of this cool little unit. Let's go. First of all, I do like to make sure that GPS is reporting accurately. And have a look at my stats there. Speed meters 37, stats 14. Flight time, okay. Now that's obviously it says kilometers an hour, where it says 2320 at the moment. Just see where that car is I just heard. I don't think he's around here anywhere. No? Okay. Let's line it up for that speed run number 1. Oh, there's someone walking on the road there. So we got to 100 kilometers an hour. Then I knew this thing was fast, guys. What a rocket ship. And I actually backed off too. Let's line it up for another run. I think this time we'll shoot down that alleyway there. Just make sure we're in position. Okay, speed run number 2. Coming up. Not too sure what I got to there, but this is an excellent way of depleting your battery really fast, guys. Holy moly. Okay. Let's just see where we're at with our power supply. Yeah, we're getting low. Okay. Let's just go for a cool down lap. Now we might be able to get one more run out of this, guys. Can't see anybody down there. And it's saying land now, link quality 1. Okay. Okie doke, here we go. I think I got to about 110 then, guys, and I'm 13%, sorry, 13 volts, time to land, folks. I think I got about 4 minutes flight time with that, guys. However, top speed I think was probably around 115 kilometers an hour. I think I could have gone a little bit faster. I achieved what I wanted to achieve. These are really nice props, guys. All the links are below. Thanks for watching this, guys. Much appreciated. Any comments? Absolutely. See you next time. Smack that bell. Lots more to come. Sky Pilot. Catch you later on. Bye for now.